Assalamualaikum and a very good day. I will talk about the uses of animals in research or experimentation. Animals have been using for research or experimentation in place of human subjects for various reasons. In most cases, animals are used for disease treatment, prevention, treatment of injuries, basic medical testing, and medical diagnosis. Animals also used in research of vaccination, anesthesia, antibiotics, and numerous medical treatments for various diseases. Next is, I will talk about the examples of animals that are used in research. Firstly, rabbits are used in vaccine development. Secondly, cows or horses are used in veterinary research. Thirdly, cats have been used in neurophysiological studies, the development of hearing aids. Next, mice or rats are used in cancer research, metabolic diseases, and genome research. Fifthly, pigs are used in transplantation surgery and emergency surgery. Lastly, dogs are used in bone marrow transplantation, osteosynthesis, and diabetes research.
What is animal ethics? Animal ethics is a branch of ethics which examines human-animal relationships, the moral consideration of animals, and how non-human animals ought to be treated. Subject matter includes animal rights, animal welfare, animal law, and animal cognition. It also includes wildlife conservation, moral status, and history of animal use. What are the five freedoms? Animals should have the freedom to stand up, lie down, turn around, groom themselves, and stretch their limbs. These freedoms became known as Bramble's Five Freedoms. Five freedoms are freedom from hunger and thirst, freedom from discomfort, freedom from pain, injury, or disease. Another freedoms are freedom to express normal behavior and freedom from fear and distress. All of these are stated in Farm Animal Welfare Council 2009. What's the differences? Freedom from hunger and thirst is by ready access to fresh water and diet to maintain health and vigor, while freedom from discomfort is by providing an appropriate environment including shelter and a comfortable resting area. Now, let's see other differences. Freedom from pain, injury, or disease is by prevention or rapid diagnosis and treatment, while freedom to express normal behavior is by providing sufficient space, proper facilities, and company of the animal's own kind, while freedom from fear and distress is by ensuring conditions and treatment which avoid mental suffering. Congrats! Now you have known the five freedoms.
Let's talk about two positions on animal experiment. The first one is in favor of animal experiment, and the second one is against animal experiment. For the first one, experimenting on animals is acceptable if and only if: number 1, suffering is minimized in all experiments; number 2, human benefits are gained which could not be obtained by using other methods. For the second one, experimenting on animals is always unacceptable because: number 1, it causes suffering to animal; number 2, the benefit to human beings are not proven; and the last one, any benefits to human being could be provided in other way. Introducing the 3 R's in animal ethics. The 3 R's are a set of principles that scientists are encouraged to follow in order to reduce the impact of research on animals. The 3 R's are: number 1, replacement; number 2, reduction; and number 3, refinement.
Now,
let's look at one of the 3 R's, which is replacement. Replacement is to replace higher animals with lower ones, and the alternative in replacing such animals are by using large-scale models. For example, the usage of dummies in the section Introduction teaching about human or animal anatomy, and mechanicals of computer-rendered model, virtual reality, and audio-visual aids. Experiments on animals can also be done with an alternative, such as the usage of cell culture experimentation, computer-generated studies, human volunteer studies, and epidemiological studies. Replacements have 2 categories, complete and incomplete replacements. Complete replacements have methods including prediction usage based on physical and chemical properties, using simulations and virtual reality, epidemiological data analysis, human volunteer research, and isolated human cells and tissue culture research. However, many methods are considered incomplete due to the fact that the usage of some biological materials from humanly killed animals. There are pros and cons of replacement. The pros are utilizing pre-existing knowledge, similarities are observed using known principles, and the usage of less expensive animals or models for mass screening, whereas the cons of it are any models are dependent on pre-existing information. All variables of physiology and pathology are unknown for complex organisms, and the research must utilize living organisms.
Let's talk about the second R, which is reduction. So what is reduction? Reduction actually means to minimize the number of animals needed to perform an experiment or teach a concept. So by examining these parameters, the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee, the IACUC, can determine if thoughtful experimental design was employed, and this is to minimize the overall of animal use. So how can we do this? How can we reduce the number of animal use in experiments? So in order to do that, we can improve the experimental techniques. We can also improve techniques of data analysis, and also share information with other researchers. What else can we do other than things that I mentioned just now? We can also consult with a statistician to use only the numbers of animals required to achieve a significance. Other than that, we can also minimize the variables such as disease, stress, diet, genetics, etc. that may affect experimental results. We must also keep in mind that we need to perform appropriate literature searches and consult with colleagues to ensure that these experiments are not duplicated, in order not to use the animals for experiments many times. Other than that, we can also use the appropriate species of animal so that we can achieve a useful data.
To look at the final step of this process, first, we need to understand what is refinement. In broad terms, refinement means to improve. Then, why do we refine? By refining the experimental protocol, we can use a protocol form to reduce the pain or distress inflicted to the animal. By refining, we can identify the pain and distress of the animal, and also by making plans for preventing and relieving it from pain. Receiving adequate training prior to performing a procedure may lessen the possibility for problems to occur, and using a proper handling technique for animals to avoid hurting the creature. How to reduce animal suffering? Refining the experiment or the way the animals are cared for, we can reduce their suffering by using less invasive techniques, giving a better medical care, and providing a better living condition.